Welcome back to Factorio MSX Gigabase, where I am on episode 3, I think, although it's kind of, for me, it's deja vu because being a novice at this, I actually did a whole episode and found that I had blank video. Great sound, but, well, great for a cheap headset, but great sound, but no video whatsoever, so that one's basically going to be dumped. So we've done a little bit of work off screen that I intended to show you, but never mind, we'll get to that in a minute. What have I done since last time? Well, I have added in iron, steel, stone and stone brick in a very similar way to the way we did coal. So they're now all handled via the subscription process, subscription publish process. It's still very much green circuit that is struggling now and then. And yeah, there's our list of subscriptions now. Trains waiting, and the publishers actually kind of goes off the list because U is our make everything, and if you have a look at make everything, we've got one generic stop here that is surrounded in publishers for whenever it needs stuff. So that's why publishers has grown so much. There's the those are the subscription stations. That's iron smelting plate 1, just like copper smelting plate 2 and copper smelting plate 4. So iron is the odd numbers, copper is the even numbers, and obviously I'm going to need the editing tool at least to be able to add stations very soon, otherwise this will get unwieldy when we start adding additional iron and steel and stuff into the equation. But so we did that. The other thing that I had to do was yeah, let's go to the map view. If you look out here, we actually got attacked by a lone biter that made its way down here and started attacking down here, blew up our radar here as they like to do, and then came through and attacked this mining operation. So I, in retribution, wiped out all the biters through this area. If we have a look at the pollution, I think it is just sort of around here as well. So we actually probably have to do some more, but I'll do that off camera. But you'll notice I've actually added nukes. I added them into what's made in the make everything and applied the nukes to well, added them into me, so I have them now, so nukes will make it a little bit easier to kill stuff. So now, what did we do in the missing episode 3? Basically, we have a large number of production modules now. We actually have, all of these are full of the 400, so that's enough to fill, like 2,000 is the stacking size, 50 in a standard cargo wagon, so 8,000 production modules fills it up completely. So sorry, 8,000, 8 by 2,000, 16,000. So if we have 6 loaders, then 400 in each is 2,400. It's enough to fill a cargo wagon. So we have now enough for more than 2 383s full of production modules. So we had to get on with speed modules. And speed modules is a little bit different because, well, obviously in the rocket components you need them. You need the level 1 speed modules, level 1 prod modules and level 1 efficiency modules, otherwise completely useless. But the level 1 speed module is needed, and actually it's needed for building assembly 3 machines as well. So there's a couple of places, and it's also obviously a component in the level 3 speed modules. So the way this is working is I have used a junction to split off into this part, which will be speed module 1, and this part which will make the speed module 3s. And obviously the speed module 1s can come straight down here to help with the speed module 3s, and they can also go off to make rocket control units in vast quantity, as we will need once we get to them. And in fact they'll be our priority to go that way after after this, and after we've kind of fixed up the space with modules, and probably added in another stack of green and another stack of red, because I suspect we're going to need that. I'm hoping we're going to have room for them here, and more green and red probably means more copper, probably some more iron, more oil probably as well, blah 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 blah, and so it goes on and on. So yeah, that's what I did. So in building this up, I basically had a blueprint for that angled stacker. It's just similar to, well, it's basically this one. I have not used this design because this is a little bit too long. It's longer than my usual. It's 36 long, whereas I normally have about 30 of these long. The problem with having these so long is that they definitely drain, as you can see here, from the sides first, and you're left with a full train in the middle, but these parts are completely empty. So it has to keep burning in until this one drains enough for this to go out, which it is what it is. I don't actually know if it was completely balanced that it would be a huge amount better, because the way bots work, they kind of drain, they kind of choose a single source and drain that completely and then move on to the next one. They don't do it evenly like you'd kind of like them to. But never mind. So we didn't use that. We basically copied this because, in fact, I've just realized that this design is not going to work because we need 4 inputs. Do we have 4 inputs here? No, we've only got 3 inputs here. We're going to need 4 inputs because we are going to need green circuits, because we'll still be doing some level 1 modules. So we need green circuits, we need red circuits, we need blue circuits, and we need the prod modules. So this design is going to need to be revised, but I guess that's okay. We can let it build out. And then I can just pick this up and push it out and add some more track in, which is what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to do quite a bit of surgery here, so I guess it will all be right in the end. I don't even think I just stamped it down. What you can see in action is the wonderful power of my rubbish train and supply train working in unison, because if I stand here for a little bit, I'll fairly quickly fill up with garbage. So much garbage that we need to do a bit of a recharge cheat, or at least on this lot we do. At least let them recharge. Go. If you don't know what I'm doing, I'm just putting them back into my inventory, which means they can come out immediately fully charged, which is a bit of a cheat, but it's just a time saver. Now we're not manually going to be laying all this down. The supply train is going to do it for us. I've actually already ordered the supplies for the supply train. I'm mainly just standing here to clear the forest out, and in fact we need to do our little cheat again. And we're full. So we'll run up to where we put down our little utility stops, and this is the stop for our engineering train, which I never bothered doing in my last series, but it certainly makes sense to do it, so I've now built it into a blueprint, and it's the first thing we lay down really is this 3 sets of stops. This is the rubbish train, and you'll notice it's actually, oh, I can see why the supply train's not working. I have not called this outpost supply. go. Now, what is the supply train actually doing at the moment? It's unloading. Alright, that's not good. What we all need to do then, because we stuffed that up, is go down here, turn that off. That should clear all of the requirements from here. And now you notice, if you followed my last series, you'll know that the supply train, I had to kind of balance the load to make sure it would fit within a single 242, because that's how big I made my supply train deliberately. Well, it's still a 242, but now it can make multiple journeys, so it will divide it up itself. So I don't know if this all fits in a single 242. It might do, but we are going to order that. And that was based on going through this blueprint, which is the one we stamped down, and just doubling it up because I stamped it down twice, except for I deliberately didn't order the modules or the beacons or the rail elements or the very low quantity elements. Now if you go back, and this is all combinator driven, it's not going to be driven by the publish subscribe scheme. If you go back here, you can see the supply train has moved from unload down to here, and it is slowly filling up, fulfilling the order, and slowly counting down whatever it's loading up, which it looks like it is the stack inserters right now. They're getting loaded up, and the make everything will probably be busy making a bunch of additional stack inserters now to make up for the deficit. When this train is full, it will come and so 20 seconds of inactivity, or the all the items in is that right? And anything's like, I'm not sure what that means. Oh, that's for the unload. Supply, that's better. So either it gets a go signal, or it has had nothing loaded for 30 seconds, which means that it's full. It will come anyway, drop off what it's got, come back and pick up more. That's how it now works. So if the 242 is not big enough for a particularly massive construction, it will make more than one load. Now meanwhile, this is the rubbish train, and I think it's cleared out all of that stuff. Sorry, that's not the rubbish train, this is the rubbish train, and it's probably come and gone. It basically has connection over to the supply train, so it does not, anything that's in this constant combinator also gets excluded from the rubbish, in addition to what we've set up here, which, because it's speed modules, I put in speed modules. Actually, I probably should put in these, and we need to set them to minus 10 million, that's right. Well, minus at least a million. Some value that it's unlikely to get to, basically, so that it doesn't come along and scoop them up, because it just adds this to, I could always do a multiplication of it, but I guess I'm not doing that at the moment, because most of the time I can just stamp it down. I don't need to add additional elements, but in this case I think it's wise to do so, and we don't want it picking up those either. So those are basically exclusions. Anything else it will pick up, especially like wood. So if we come down here, grab some wood, and then come back up here, and so they work in unison now, and you'll probably find that the rubbish train is now turned on because it has 244 items to pick up, and whenever it gets at least 100, it will come. So yeah, I guess we can leave this bit because we're going to have to do a bit of surgery down here to fit in more tracks. I probably should have started with this model because it has 3, and then I'd only need to move the bottom bit, but we didn't. Here we go. This will be one of our trains. It looks like it's the supply train. Just make sure, good, I'm not standing on anything. It's coming in. It will unload everything that it's got. Bots are automatically put into here, into this network, to a certain extent anyway. Actually, I need to make it put construction bots in there as well. And then normally when these are operating, we have them on a separated network, so that the bots for this network just operate here, the bots for the one above just operate there, etc. But while we're building it, so that the supply train can basically build it for us, we join up the networks. So if I run up here, so that will rip all the wood off us very quickly. Now this guy needs to also request 50 construction bots. So the construction bots get added in, and then this one up the top should be okay to start building. It's not actually perfect yet. We don't have any roboports. There's only 2 there, but there'll be a few more there. There we go. So what I want to do is I want to get these roboports in a connected network in such a way that it will come up here and build this whole thing for me. Now we need power. Does it have power? Yes, it does. So now if we have a look at our network diagram, that's all connected, but this specifically is not. So now the robots can build the top half, they can't build the bottom half. The top half does need some modification though. It's not actually perfect as it stands. This is designed specifically for green circuits, so we're feeding from one to the other, but we don't need that for the sort of module speed module 1s that we will be working on. So what I'm going to do is actually, for starters, I'm going to rip out all of that. I kind of want it to, well, our bots are doing some of the build now, which is a bit silly. I kind of want it to get to a point where it's laid down some of these assembly machines so I can pick them up. Maybe we'll come over here and clear out, because we need it to change the recipe on all of these, and the density's not quite right either, obviously, so let's just start ripping out some stuff. Okay, and down here let's rip out all of that because it's wrong. We'll probably leave about 5, which we will make right. There we go. So that should make it easier for your robots. You should be happy with me. Your overlord. me have a sip of my coffee while the robots kind of catch up. There we go, that's pretty much exactly what I wanted them to do. So, what I want is obviously not this at all. What we want instead, I should have. Well, it doesn't matter. 4 will do, or even 3. For starters, we'll just build ever bigger blueprints. So, what we want is to change the formula to the speed module 1s. And we want to, they don't take prod modules, unfortunately they only take speed modules. Why is that flashing? You can't deliver prod modules unless they've changed that. Anyway, let's get rid of the annoying flashing. Where did they end up? There they are. Oh, they've gone and never mind then. Okay, what we might do is we'll run down and grab some of the supplies ourselves. Let's tell it we want 50 of them. We want 50 of those. Do we need requester chests? Of course we do. There. Now. We still have some, good. Right, so we will be basically an out and an in. Out to a supply chest and the request chest there. Good-o, and obviously we'll be requesting items, but I doubt that number will be enough. Try a stack of each for now. Is that going to be enough? Let's just think, when this thing's going at full speed, it will be virtually 10 times normal speed. Which is 1.5 a second. It needs 5 of each. You never know until you've got the thing running, but let's go for a double stack. It's not going to hurt. And now we simply need to blueprint this. This is how I get an explosion of blueprints. Whoopsies. 9, 12, 15. Well, it'll be obvious when we get to the other end that we've got as many as we can do. One more, I think. Yep. So that is our blueprint. Let us basically clear that and blueprint the whole row. No, I don't need to worry about that. Let's let's just put for row, something like that. That'll be meaningful enough. Now, stamp that down and stamp it down there. Come up to the top, twist it around. I think that works. Let's just put it there for now because we appear to have a few items to pick up still from the green circuit blueprint that we used before. Stamp that down. Check that it makes sense. It does. Okay. So this entire thing only makes speed module 1s. And the construction bots should go ahead and build that now for us. Meanwhile, we'll go down to the more complex one. I made some notes to myself on a bit of paper about how many of each machine that I want, and now that I'm looking at it, it's well, I don't really want you to do that. It's not making a huge amount of sense to me, so yeah. I might just take those guys out for the moment. So what we need to do here is basically cut this lot off and probably need to get rid of some of these pipes and tanks. They're not much use for me right at the moment. Let's get a blueprint of just this bit. Slap it there. Then we can get this one. Get rid of all of that. Might need my bots back. I don't mind it building the rail, that's probably fine. The other thing that I'm probably going to change a little is instead of always having 6 stack inserters per wagon, I may actually experiment with changing that up, because they can move a lot of material fairly quickly, and if you notice, like if we were looking before, let's take the circuit network off, we were looking before up here, all of these are doing nothing at this time, so there's not really much point in having all of these stack inserters. And if we can reduce the number of them, that's again reducing entities and looking after our UPS. So especially in a situation like this where there's a long period of sitting waiting for the last one to clear, and the actual maximum rate of using them is, well, it will be faster than this obviously when it's moduled, but for now the maximum rate of using them is a little bit limited by this whole use it from the outside first paradigm. Anyway, enough of that. So what we need to do here is get another blueprint. Now we want basically all of that. And I must have stood that on something. Never mind. So now we've got two stations at the top. We can now go back to this, which I know is incorrect, but that's okay. Does it need to go down there, or is that going to wipe out our boxes? I'm not sure. I know that won't. Let's try that. And yes, we'll have to remove the interior, but it was more or less just for placement of the robo ports and the beacons and so on. So we need to do the same down here, I guess. I mean, I could just spin it around, but or use our reflection tool. But that will do funny things to that. So what I might do is let's wipe that one. Oops, it looks like I've cleared it altogether. No, I've put it up there. Let's clear this one as well. Oh yes, we've got refueling in here. We don't actually need refueling. Get rid of those. Because we handle refueling differently. Since we have the automatic train refueling mod. There we go. Now, let's pick up all of... Oh. Yeah, I don't know if we need the light show. Doesn't really matter. Let's pick up all of that. Let's wipe out all of that. Let's make a copy of we're going to pick up that, never mind, we can get rid of that afterwards. All of that, get rid of this one here. So we've got a second train track, and now have that, the actual build laid down. Come over here, finish off the track, and before we forget, let's make sure we get a one of these guys in there. And now, do we have time to finish off the design? Well, for starters, we know that what we have in here is no good. We're not building green circuits. We also can't totally copy what we have above because it's obviously not just speed module 1s. Now I have my notes here. That doesn't add up. Let me just quickly check my maths. I think I need 26 of the speed module 3s. I need 65 of the 2s, which is 91, which means I have 89. Yes, that kind of makes sense. So if we put a row of this guy, in there, and a row this way, so obviously I'm putting the speed module 1s, the extra speed module 1s that we need closest to the center here because that will get the most traffic. That's 60. I need another 29. And I need to put them basically in the middle. So 29 is 15 and 14. Let us get another blueprint. Count off 14. There's 14. Let's actually count off 15. So I want those things to be parallel. How's that? Should have 7 on one side and 8 on the other. That looks like it's 7. That looks like it's 8, so that's fairly good. Let's spin that around. There. No bother. I think that's where we need it. So this one, we 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 that side. There is 8 that side. That's good. So we need to get rid of that guy. Right, so that's the level 1 modules. Now I need 65 of the level 2 modules. So that will be 15 here, 16 there for 31, and then we'll do the same sort of thing with putting them in the middle. So what we really want to do right now is probably actually extend our network all the way down here. Let me check the time. I think we're starting to run out of time. I would kind of like to get the design finished for you guys. do trees away. No one likes trees. Come on, trees away. These trees right here. Get rid of them. Ooh. Oh, now I've lost power, so I need power to this guy so I can see what I'm doing. Let's quickly let the massive army of logistic bots up here get rid of all those trees as fast as we're filling up with them, maybe even faster. The rubbish train will be called again, of course. Right, keep connecting up these networks. Oh, came over there too far. There we go. So once we have power on all of these bits, just check that has power. It does. How is power going? Very quietly actually at the moment. We're probably not producing as much as we can. We're still doing 24,000 green circuits a minute. Without modules, we're actually only doing 2,500 red circuits, which is probably something to do with the plastic not being quite up to speed. Or maybe we just don't have the demand on red. Let's just have a look. We do have some demand on red actually, so yeah. Not exactly sure what I'm going to do here in terms of getting all these guys in, but that's not the main thing just yet. I want some assembly machines. I do think we're probably gone over time, so I might just wrap this up between episodes and show you what I've done, but the general idea, as I said, is we will be putting level 2 speed modules in the rest of this bit and in the middle, and the level 3s will be at the sides, and that's basically the design. So thanks for joining me. I look forward to seeing you in the next, where we'll start heading towards possibly building rocket control units. I think for this I'll be aiming to get rocket launching underway as soon as possible once we have the basic factory moduled up. So that's where we're headed, and I'll see you then. Cheers guys, bye bye.